This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Baby?
Hmm?
Are you ready for today's review?
Yeah, sure. I was just jotting down some ideas for the finale for the end of this month.
Oh, the response to the Dark Crystal has been so good already. I can't wait to see how the theme month ends.
I got a feeling it's gonna be a good one. Hey guys, before we get started, be sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell for notifications whenever I upload something new. Be sure to like, comment, and share. This helps me grow my channel and make it easier for me to release new content. Answer the question of the review in the comments below, and be sure to check out the end of the video where we'll be reading some of the answers from last review's question. Anyway, last time we talked about one of Jim Henson's greatest achievements with the Dark Crystal, but this time around, we're going to delve into a somewhat more obscure corner of the Henson-verse, the Storyteller. The Storyteller was a short-lived anthology series featuring Sir John Hurt as the titular storyteller, regaling us, and his dog, voiced by Brian Henson, with obscure fairy tales about the strange and unusual. By the way, this guy might just have the most awesome robe ever. I want to get an oppo suit like this. The first story he tells is that of a soldier, played by the clever girl guy, who comes across a magical sack with which he captures death itself, manages to save hundreds of damned souls from the depths of hell, and is rewarded with wandering the earth for all of eternity for his trouble. Okay? Of course it's a Jim Henson production, and what's the point of it being so if not to show off some incredible puppetry? Just look at all these little devils that were made for this episode. Creating decent lip sync on human-sized heads would be difficult enough, but these guys? Man, if I wasn't already aware of Jim Henson's genius, I might think he cast real demons here.
Quite nice black flowers.
Wait a minute, what was that? These creature fabricators put all this time and effort into giving these demons some of the most intricately animated little faces you'll ever see on screen, and the puppeteers just make him stiff bounce away like that?
Did you just say something bad about Jim Henson?
I did! I'm sorry! Yeah, I know that a lot of people have very fond memories of this series, and I have nothing but respect for its creator and the very obvious effort that went into bringing these stories to life, but I gotta call it like I see it, and what I'm seeing is not without its flaws, most of them coming from the writing. Jim Henson wanted to tell more obscure stories, but the reason a lot of these stories aren't told outside of college folklore classes is a simple one. They just aren't very good. Where most of these stories suffer is that it's not clear what point it is that they're trying to get across, if a point is actually there in the first place. In the case of The Soldier in Death, it looks like it wants to play up the importance of thinking on your toes and doing whatever you can to help as many people as possible, but then the protagonist is cursed to wander the earth for eternity? What's the moral of that story? No good deed goes unpunished? The following story of a young man they call Fear Not isn't much better. For some reason, he doesn't know how to be afraid of anything, so he goes on an epic quest to discover the Shutters. Getting jumped by a gang of thieves doesn't do it, running into the sea monster doesn't do it. Then again, I have a hard time determining if the sea monster is supposed to be scary or goofy.
Maybe he'd be surprising when you first see him, but I'm gonna go with goofy.
And spending the night in a haunted castle full of dismembered ghosts? Yep, just as ineffective. But look what happens when he comes back home and learns the name of this cute girl next door for whom he's been pining since the beginning of the story.
I don't know her name.
Lydia.
Lydia. Lydia.
Oh yes, so believable. What is this, true love's first shudder?
True love's first premature ejaculate.
Family approved!
Hey.
I shuddered! I shuddered! I shuddered!
She stole me V-card! And the moral of this story is, there is nothing more terrifying than women. Tell me I'm wrong!
Oh no, you should be afraid of me.
Uh-oh. The story of the Luck Child tells of the prophecy of a newborn child who is destined to rise and overthrow the king. Jesus!
Bless you.
Exactly. After the king finds the baby and buys him from his parents, who offer nothing more of an objection than, "Stop, don't come back," he proceeds to kill the baby by throwing his chancellor down this cliff with the baby. Yes, they say that this king is paranoid as hell, but this minion of his has done nothing to indicate that he might usurp his throne as well.
This is literally killing the messenger.
The Luck Child is, of course, ridiculously, unbelievably lucky, and he's eventually found and raised by a couple of millers. Despite the storyteller telling us that the king had forgotten about the boy completely, the king somehow recognizes him while he's out collecting tithes from the peasantry. He gives him a letter to be given to the queen, instructing her to make him part of the royal court, when in actuality it's instructions for the queen to kill him on sight. Since these millers are giving up their adopted son as easily as his biological parents did, I'm just left wondering why the king doesn't take him away himself just so we can kill him in the woods. He comes across this thief who roofies him so he can rob him blind, but when he finds the letter on him, he instead takes pity on him and forges a new letter telling the queen that the king wants Lucky here to marry their daughter. Just... what? For all the murders that this guy is no doubt committed to maintain his lifestyle, why would he suddenly care about what happens to this kid? And again, why did the king have to instruct the queen to kill him when he could have just killed him himself? They established pretty early on that he was the kind of evil bastard who would slit your throat for looking at him the wrong way, so why does he need to be all covert about his intentions now? I know that this kid is lucky, but this is self-insertion fanfic lucky.
Oh, no. He just has the superpower of invoking feelings of stupid in those around him. You see how the princess here immediately falls in love with Lucky? This kid is no dreamboat. If she falls for him this quickly, it can only be because of his powers of stupid.
They get married within minutes, making me wonder what exactly that robber wrote in his forgery. Dear Queen Sweetie Pie, this young man whose name I don't know is going to marry the princess. I mean, your daughter. I mean, our daughter. Our daughter, that's it. And she's totally into it, despite whatever objections she might have. Go ahead and let them get married as soon as you read this letter. Don't even bother waiting for me. Sincerely and totally not some rubber, the king. I mean, your husband. I mean, king husband? The king finally makes it back to the castle, and he's not exactly pleased with this latest turn of events.
How?
You ordered it. Marriage, your letter said, on pain of death.
Wait, pain of death? The robber's letter said, marry my daughter to this total stranger immediately or I'll kill you, and she believed it? If she thinks that the king is so evil that he threatened to kill his queen for not following through with every little command he gives her, no matter how strange or unexpected it may be, why wouldn't she be relieved upon hearing that he actually wanted the boy killed instead of her? Why is she fighting this? This kid really is emitting fields of stupid.
This shouldn't be called the Luck Child, it should be called Dumb Luck.
Your Majesty, forgive me. I'd thought you a cruel tyrant, a blight on the poor. But now you make me, the humble peasant, your son and heir, and the happiest husband there ever was.
And the golden feather.
Beg pardon?
The golden feather from the griffin. Do you have it?
No, sire?
Then you must fetch it. Was it not understood that my daughter could not marry without it?
Well, you didn't write it into your letter, so... Will you ignore the bloody letter, you stupid twit?
Now I'm sad they didn't get John Cleese to play the king. He would have had a field day with this. Oh, my king, you're home at last.
Yes, never mind that. I wish to make a complaint about the young man who married my daughter not half an hour ago in this very castle.
Ah, yes. What's wrong with him?
I'll tell you what's wrong with him. He's not dead, that's what's wrong with him.
Oh, but my king, your letter said you wanted him to marry our daughter.
Look, my lady, I know a forged letter when I see one, and I'm looking at one right now.
No, you wrote this yourself. Such a handsome young man. They make a lovely couple, don't they?
Being a lovely couple, don't enter into it. I want him stone dead.
No, you don't want them killed. Surely that's a joke.
Surely that's a joke? What kind of talk is that? Look, why would I forbid any man from touching her and then just throw this whelp at her when I'm perfectly content with stroking her hair as she sits on my lap, which isn't creepy at all?
But in your letter you said that—
Stop putting words in my mouth and listen to what's coming out of it! I want this boy to be no more! I want him to cease to be! I ordered him to be cut into 1,000 pieces! I don't want him betrothed, I want him beaten demised! I want him expired and gone to meet his maker! He should be a late person! I want him bereft of life and resting in peace! She shouldn't be throwing the bouquet, he should be pushing up the daisies! I don't want them walking down the aisle, I want him running down the curtain and joining the choir invisible! I don't want him an in-law, I want him an ex-person! If you want to get anything done in this kingdom, you gotta complain till you're blue in the mouth. But yeah, he makes up some bullshit condition that Lucky has to get the golden feather of a griffin, which he does after he just happens to bump into that thief from before, who has a very curious relationship with the griffin in question.
Stink, stench, stank of man bits. Why not lie?
And now a little scratch?
Straight hits scratch.
Anyone else feeling really uncomfortable right now?
Why not like things pulled?
I'm sorry, but Jim Henson has to know what this sounds like.
Lucky comes back with a feather and a chest full of jewels. The king then goes to the Griffin's Island so that he can become even more rich than he already is, but then the ferryman gives him his oar, making him the new ferryman for the rest of eternity. What?
Take it, he says. Take it. Take it. So if you come one day to a lake, and there's an island, and a ferry goes back and forth, rowed by an old, sad man, turn around. Griffins live there. You may never get off the boat. For the ferryman was once a wicked king who ignored a prophecy, whose heart was cruel. And nature, my dears, is a wise woman who pays us back tit for tat.
Is that what we were supposed to take away from this story? If you see a ferryman who looks kind of sad, don't go on his boat?
No, don't grab his pole. All of the sexual innuendo in this episode, all leading up to nature being a woman that pays you back tit for tat. And your takeaway is that the climax is unsatisfying?
Well, yeah. We're going along, doing our thing, enjoying ourselves, and then it just abruptly comes to a halt.
That's what she said.
A Story Short is an odd little deviation which actually features the storyteller himself as the main character, as he finds himself under contract with a king who wants him to tell him a new story every day for a year. Maybe he has an Arabian friend who gave him the idea. He eventually gets a bit of storyteller's block, on the very last day no less, when he runs into a sorcerer who swindles him out of his court-appointed wife, turns him into a rabbit and then a flea, then the sorcerer makes the young prince disappear, and just when it looks like he's going to be boiled in oil, the storyteller wakes up. Yeah, not even this series is above the "it was all just a dream" cliché. Now that he does have a story to tell, he gives it to the king, and this is his reaction.
That's the best story I ever heard.
Listen to more stories.
And hang on, this guy has been under contract with the king for a year. A year? A new story for every day, 365 stories he has to tell. And this was the best story the king has ever heard? This storyteller sucks!
And suddenly the whole court stood and cheered and clapped my back and made me say again from start to finish the best story they'd ever heard. And then I understood what the beggar had done. He'd given me a story.
No, he didn't. You just dreamed all of that. He says at the beginning that beggars are more than they actually appear, but if that's the lesson we're supposed to get from that, this story should have actually been happening instead of just being a dream. The beggar/sorcerer asks for one final request right before he's about to be boiled, then he brings the storyteller back to his rightful form, and then he tells him to tell the story of what just happened today, like he's some kind of guardian angel or something that did all of this just so he would have his final story to tell. That would be the beggar giving him a story. Hans my Hedgehog tells the tale of a couple who are trying to get pregnant, but when the wife says that she wouldn't care how strange it would be, she just really wants a baby, damn it. The forces that be tell the world to hold their beer, and the woman is blessed with this thing. Nice to know that Sonic is not the ugliest hedgehog on film. Seriously, lady, I know that you want a baby really, really badly, but this thing comes out of you and you're gonna want to smother that monstrosity or call a priest. Baby Grinch was more appealing than this. And it looks so real, too. I mean, all the props to Jim Henson and his people for their unlimited talents, but... ew! This monstrosity makes his parents into outcasts, and you gotta give Daddy some serious credit for waiting several years before he finally kicks his mutant son to the curb.
Oh! From now on, I'll eat out there with the other beasts! Come home! Hans heard them, but he wouldn't answer. He lay there all night, his rooster for company.
I think you mean his giant cock for company.
Damn it, Jim, you're a puppeteer, not a pornographer.
He leaves home and settles down in a matte painting of a giant castle, with no explanation of where the castle came from. Did he find it? Did he murder its previous inhabitants? Did he commission some village to build it for him with no means of paying them? Explain! Then some wandering king comes across it, and Hans helps him home under the stipulation that he be given the first person who greets him. Not sure why it wouldn't be some guard or random peasant as he makes his way to his castle, but the first person he meets is actually his daughter.
Watch, that princess is gonna be so shallow.
How could you tell?
Shallow girls always love pricks with giant cocks.
And the king lets go of the princess's sweetness and cherry pie, and his face clouds over.
The princess was the king's cherry pie. She put a smile on his face 10 miles wide. Sadly, since he has to be a man of his word, the king just forks over his daughter to the unholy abomination.
Do you know of me, lady?
I'm getting this weird feeling we're supposed to be turned on by this guy. What, are they going for the big bad wolf from Into the Woods?
I want you to be my wife and come live with me in the forest. I want you to be my princess of sweetness and cherry pie.
No, you're doing the wrong song. Shouldn't you be inviting her to do it like they do in the Discovery Channel? So they marry, to the collective sadness of the entire kingdom, not that this means a damn thing to our poor misunderstood protagonist, and their incredibly awkward honeymoon takes a turn for the weirder as he sheds his quills when she's not looking, and just hangs out with the animals in the royal stable, huh?
And she found herself going to the abandoned coat of hair and quills, and touching it, soft and warm.
And thus was the furry fandom born. Another night passes, and he explains that if she can keep his secret for a third night, the spell over him will be broken. No. If you were a normal-looking person and you turned into a hedgehog after slighting some magic user or something, that would be a spell. You were born this way. This isn't a spell, it's a medical condition. But yeah, she promises to keep his secret because there's literally no downside to not keeping a secret.
But we all know about promises, don't we? And secrets.
It's a day! She can't keep a promise or a secret for a day? It turns out that no, she can't keep a secret to herself for a whole frickin' day, and she spills the beans to her mother. The queen suggests that the only way to undo the spell is to cast the skin into the fire, which she does, because why should she listen to the guy who's lived with this condition his entire life and might know more about it than some queen? This turns him back into a hedgehog again, he runs away, and she spends the next year or so wandering aimlessly until she just happens to run into him again. And now he can turn into a raven at will for some reason?
To the health of that most beautiful woman who could not keep her promise for one more day.
Husband, I have walked the world to find you, and have worn out the soles of 3 pairs of iron shoes. My hair is no longer red. But I come to claim you, and catch you up, and snoodle you and hug you to bits.
Thus the curse was broken with true love's wrestle.
Thank goodness this guy turned out to be cute. I don't think she got that good of a look at him before now.
Really? You didn't think about showing this off to your new bride on your wedding night? You thought that hanging around with a bunch of animals was a better idea than snoodling? And so the princess rode his giant cock all the way home, and they lived hornily ever after.
And I told the best story there is to tell. A story which begins in hello and ends in goodbye. And for a gift, she gave me a shoe worn to nothing. And here it is.
Are you telling me that all of that nonsense was just to deliver that one punchline? Wasn't worth it. The next story is called The Three Ravens. I like it.
Easy, baby. You can barely handle one of me.
Anyway, we open on the funeral of the queen who just died.
There was one among the mourners whose heart was ice, whose soul was cold, whose smile was sly, whose brain raced ahead to the day when the king would want to ease his loneliness.
Oh, hi, Lady Van Tassel from Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow movie film. How's your vengeful sex life? She marries the king to gain control of his kingdom, but first she has to get rid of her stepchildren. After she turns the three princes into ravens, the princess runs off before she can be done away with.
And for a day and a night, the princess ran, stumbled, fled until she dropped into a dead sleep. And when she woke, she saw three ravens before her. Sister, they seemed to say, we are trapped. Help us.
How? How can I help you?
You must keep silent. You must not speak to a single soul for 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. Only then can the spell be broken.
How is it that everyone in these stories somehow knows how to undo their curses?
The princess, she couldn't speak to anyone?
No.
Hello? Goodbye? I'm hungry?
No.
What about a note? She could write a note.
The dog should have been making observations like this the entire time. Hang on. Why would a curse be lifted from the princess not saying anything at all? How does simply saying, hello, affect their ravenness? Will you shut up and let me talk? Just asking questions here. The princess lives in isolation for a few weeks, not that you could tell from how her clothes, hair, and makeup are all perfect, until your standard wandering prince comes wandering by, and they soon fall in love. They establish that for the sake of saving her brothers, she can't write any notes or give any kind of information in any way, so all this time that the prince is spending with her, he's only falling in love with her beauty and nothing else.
What else is there?
Wow. That is going to make for one awkward honeymoon.
Yeah, you like that, my princess? You do like it, don't you? Are you even awake? The prince takes her back to his kingdom, where apparently Lady Van Tassel marries his father too. I guess kings are like potato chips. You can't have just one. And hang on, she killed her husband and the children are missing, and she still didn't inherit her first kingdom? She doesn't know how to villainous. The prince and the princess soon marry and have their first baby, but through it all, she still remains silent.
And the young mother would have given anything, everything, to say his name, sing to him, whisper. But she couldn't.
Imagine how many drugs she had to be on to get through that delivery. It isn't long until the queen is up to her old tricks again, as she steals away all 3 of the princess's 3 sons, one after the other. She still can't communicate, even for the sake of defending herself, so she's eventually condemned to burn at the stake, or maybe the door, for being a witch. But because this just happens to be the same day that she can finally break her silence, her brothers show up and light the queen on fire, and they turn back to their rightful forms. Just to sum up here, this mystery woman who can't speak waltzes her way into the prince's life, marries him, bears him and allegedly murders 3 sons, so she's condemned to death for witchcraft, but this burning isn't officiated by any priests or magistrates or any of the other royalty, and the queen, who is the only witness to the proceedings, suddenly dies under equally mysterious circumstances. Then the witch comes back into town with 3 ravens that magically turn into men, who incidentally look exactly the same as they did 3 years ago, And they never say anything after this point, bringing into question their ability to talk or corroborate her story? Yeah, no. I'm sorry, lady, but there's no way you're walking away from this without being branded as a witch for the rest of your life. And she just happens to get her children back? I'm all for happy endings, but they just pulled this completely out of their asses. It's explained that the queen threw the babies down a well, but the ravens swooped down and saved them? I'm sorry, but that is bullcrap. The newborn baby has to be one of the easiest things to kill. As ruthless a bitch as this queen is, why wouldn't she just smother the babies as they were sleeping or something? If she has to opt for tossing them down a well, why wouldn't she sit down beside it for a good 20 minutes or something to make sure that nothing could come by to rescue them? How could a raven even carry a baby anyway? It's not like it's a matter of where it grips it, it's a simple question of weight ratios. And fine, maybe the ravens couldn't just immediately give the princess her sons back as soon as they were retrieved so that they could keep them safe from future murder attempts by the queen. Was there any reason why the ravens couldn't just tell their sister that her sons were safe and that she had nothing to fear? And finally, this episode has the dog pointing out a plot hole here and there, but he doesn't address these glaring issues? Why start doing this now if you're not going to go all the way with it? We move on to the story of Sapsorrow, which is basically the story of Cinderella, but where Cinderella was given her name because she slept among the ashes of the fireplace to keep warm, Princess Sapsorrow got her name from being sad for the plight of tree blood? I don't know. Anyway, her father is looking to remarry, and the only person he can marry is whoever fits the queen's wedding ring. Her sisters, played by Owen Wilson and Dom DeLuise, are itching to become the next queens, so they figure that one of them could wear the ring. And what a lovely wedding it could be. I can already hear the music as they walk down the aisle. But uh-oh, Sapsorrow hides the ring from her sisters on her own finger, and it fits! Was there really nowhere else on her person she could hide it? The news of this little mishap spreads like wildfire throughout the kingdom when it would be all too easy to just, not tell anyone outside this one room, and there's a big scandal that puts her and her father in a moral quandary, and I have no idea why. This guy is the king, isn't he? The supreme authority in the entire kingdom? Why couldn't he just modify the law to say that direct blood relatives are excluded from the conditions of finding a new queen? Or if that's impossible for some reason, why couldn't she just be dubbed queen without having to marry daddy? They're making this a much bigger problem than it needs to be.
An extra squicky.
But no, rules are rules, and everyone is on board to get these two married. Sapsorrow tries to delay the proceedings by asking for several dresses made of impossibly rare and beautiful materials, just for them to be given to her immediately without any kind of difficulty like she was hoping for. And rather than be noticeably irked by her unfortunate good fortune, she's just rolling with it. Maybe this was all an elaborate scheme to get some pretty new dresses, since she bails with them after disguising herself in a cloak made of fur and feathers that she got from her animal friends. After a few years of living in this thing, she finds herself in the employ of another king, and she bumps into the prince.
What's your name?
No name. They call me the Straggle Tag.
So why isn't this story called The Straggle Tag? I have no idea what a Straggle Tag is, but it sounds like some kind of strange beast, maybe covered in fur and feathers. But Sapsorrow? That sounds like some kind of bathroom cleaner. Despite the prince being a dick to her, she grabs one of the dresses she brought with her and attends the ball that he's throwing. Of course, he's completely smitten by her, as they spend the whole night dancing and not exchanging a single line of dialogue. She leaves suddenly for no reason. Another day passes with the prince treating her like shit, and she attends the ball the next night, just so they can exchange banter about how unapologetically shallow they both are, just so she can leave for no reason again. It's not like your dress is going to turn back into the fur coat at midnight, lady. Why are you running? He confides in the Straggle Tag the next day, ever as insulting and condescending as the day they met.
My darling has eyes like...
Like the eyes you're seeing on this horrible creature?
They're perfect. A voice like...
Like the one you're talking to right now? Dumbass! My god, he knows nothing about this woman aside from the fact that she has nice eyes and a nice voice, but he can't recognize them when they're right in front of him? He really is enamored with her beauty and nothing else.
What else is there?
After the third night of the ball, she dances with him again for no reason and runs off again for no reason, just to leave behind her shoe.
Next day, a proclamation rings out around the palace.
The prince will marry the girl who fits the golden slipper.
Well, she thinks, what was true of the finger is true of the foot.
Word of the prince looking for whoever fits this slipper somehow reaches Sapsoro's sisters, and they try it on for themselves. For a moment, it looks like Lady DeLuise is the prince's mystery woman.
I claim this handsome prince for my husband.
According to the proclamation, the prince must marry the woman who can wear the golden slipper.
Princess Bad Sister.
Princess Bad Sister!
Princess... Bad Sister? Jim Henson, I love you. We all love you. The entire point of this theme month is to celebrate your creativity, but... Princess Bad Sister is the best you can do? But no, Sapsoro reveals that she's the one who really fits the shoe, and they live shallowly ever after. Moving on to the story of the Heartless Giant, which is about a giant who is somehow still alive despite his heart being outside of his body somewhere. The king has him imprisoned for his many crimes, and he tricks this little moron of a prince into letting him go. 1. What's up with this giant's facial animation? They were able to give these little devil puppets faces that could have very elaborate and expressive movement, but a big costume piece like this giant is somehow less animated? Peter Dinklage made a more convincing giant than this. 2. Was that seriously the best they could do with these guards? Jim Henson could make Kermit the Frog look around as Dr. Mel Brooks is carrying him to his brain guacamole fire, but he can't make these guards struggle at least a little? Or did the king decide that having the giant's cell be guarded by a couple of dolls was the best thing to do? The prince's brothers go out to deal with the giant, but when they don't return, he decides that it's up to him to save them and stop the giant. After tracking the giant down, he tricks him into telling him exactly where his disembodied heart can be found, and he finds it with almost no effort whatsoever. The prince threatens to crush it if the giant doesn't free his brothers, who, along with many others, have all been turned to stone, and he does so. His former prisoners, however, take the heart and destroy it, killing him on the spot. It's played up as being this incredibly tragic moment, but it's really hard to overlook that he's been a horrible monster this entire time, and he only let everyone go after being threatened with death. Why are we supposed to feel sorry for this guy?
He would have changed that giant. He would have reformed with his heart back.
Yes, I know. Cruel. Do you know, Prince Leo lived to be a great age, became king, had 42 grandchildren, and he told them all that tale. But in his story, the giant got back his heart and made amends for all his wrongs. Because, you see, despite all that took place, a little boy once met a giant, and they became friends.
No. No, he really didn't. The giant tricked Leo into thinking they were friends. He continued pretending that they were friends so Leo could deceive him further, and then he feels bad for him at the end, maybe?
And when things don't go the way you'd like, you lie about it so no one really knows what happened? What kind of moral is that?
The final story that the storyteller tells us is The True Bride, featuring a young girl named Anya, who is the slave of Holy Monkey! Yikes! This nightmare fuel is supposed to be a troll, and suddenly I'm feeling really sorry for them as a species. If you look like this, you'd be pissed off too. Anyway, he has a bag full of feathers that he wants her to put into these smaller bags. This proves to be utterly impossible, but her fairy god... lion, does it for her. And surprisingly, he does not ask for her firstborn child unless she can guess his name.
Nor does she have to marry him, but she can't tell anybody for 3 years, or she'll shed his skin or something. Whatever.
After that, the troll says that he wants her to drain this entire pond for absolutely no reason. The lion helps her again by drinking it all.
I have to pee.
And then the troll wants her to build a castle for him, which the lion also does for her, all within the span of a day. The troll falls into the basement, and since we don't see or hear him hit the bottom, I guess the lion made it bottomless? Okay. If killing the troll was always on the table, why didn't the lion just eat him when he first showed up? So yeah, now Anya has this fine castle and all the inherent riches that are just standard issue with any castle. Then she's courted by Prince Ewan McGregor. They're all set to be married, but then he just disappears. She goes off looking for him, and luckily the lion shows up to help her again. They land outside of a random town for no reason, and the lion hands her his engorged nuts, which he explains have gifts inside. Then Prince Ewan McGregor casually rides by, apparently not remembering her at all. It turns out he's been bewitched by this other troll, to whom the story refers as the Trollop. Again, ew. Anya gives her one of the gifts in exchange for one night to be with him, 3 nights in a row. The Trollop's been roofing him so that nothing comes of their little visits, but on the 3rd night, I guess she just forgot to?
Don't cry.
What? What? Oh, my darling.
No, not there.
No, lips, Evie, lips! True love's kiss goes on the lips!
They escape and get back to their castle safe and sound, but the Trollop finally catches up with them and creeps inside in the dead of night while they're all sound asleep. And then... yeah, she just falls into the bottomless basement like the first troll, and nobody even knows she was there. She might as well have not even found them at all. So that was The Storyteller, and it didn't tell a very good story. The production values are great, the puppetry and costuming are all fantastic in how they brought these bizarre, otherworldly creatures to life. All the actors are bringing their A-game, but the focus of the show is supposed to be the telling of these stories, and there's just nothing to them. What are we supposed to learn from someone trying to do good and is ultimately punished for it? Or someone who's cartoonishly lucky and lives happily ever after just because everything in life was handed to him? Or a retelling of the Cinderella story with even less character development and the whole squicky incest angle? The story of the Heartless Giant could have been easily modified so that Leo and the giant become real friends. Their friendship redeems him, and he releases his prisoners out of the goodness of his reformed severed heart. Then after Leo's brothers kill him and he lays dying, the giant insists that Leo continue to extend a hand of kindness to those who others might not think deserve it, and then he tell their story about how a boy befriended a giant. That would be a tearjerker. Jim Henson is renowned for making us feel for chunks of foam rubber wrapped in felt. How did this show end up feeling so hollow? Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my own storytelling so that I can maybe redeem myself after bashing this series which apparently everybody loves. See you later.
Jim is so wise and witty 'cause he likes my jokes.
Wrong, Jim is the hippest dude that I know.
No.
Hey guys, I've got a letter here to open from Emily from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Let's see what she has to say. Ooh, this envelope has been stuffed to the gills. Looks like we got... oh! Let's see, is this what I want to read first? Let's see. I'm not sure if I want to read that one first. Whoa, we got
artwork.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff here. I'll go
Looks
ahead.
like there might be a letter on the back?
Or
is that more artwork?
I think it might be more artwork. Yep, more artwork. Looks like a comic, actually. Okay, so I'll go ahead and read this first. Have you seen this movie? If you have Netflix, please make a review of it. If not, I understand. Before you say something, it's not another Disney version. It's a more more faithful to the original novel. Might I recommend the book and its sequel, The Second Jungle Book? They are different from the Disney ones, from Emily. And she decided to not just recommend Mowgli, but make her own little lobby card for it. It's cute.
We have watched so many Jungle Books. Mowgli was the most recent one, right?
I don't know if it came out before or after the Jon Favreau film, but we did see it.
Right. But you haven't reviewed it.
We have not reviewed it.
Okay, then
And
you
I
can't
remember
say
that
much about it.
we did see it because it had Boot. You remember Boot?
Right. Say no more. You might. I can see you reviewing that down the line.
Yeah. Oh dear. Alright, so let's take a look at this fan art that was included with this. We have Transformers Universe, which is property of Hasbro. Including Optimus Prime, The Fallen, ew, Megatron, looks like we got Wheeljack in there, got Cliff Jumper, Elita 1, let's see, we got a whole bit on the back here. Here's the letter, sorry.
Okay.
Dear Bob Show, I hope you and Raven are doing well. I'm doing well. Are you, Raven?
No, I can't get well. I've been sick for a month.
Right.
But thanks for asking.
I hear you are a Transformers fan. I might have mentioned that in passing.
Boy.
And this is something I hope you like. Transformers Universe is a fanfic series I have made on how I imagine the Transformers themselves being about. The plot is that the Autobots and Decepticons crash land on Earth, and centuries later, in the year 2119, the Autobots awake and discover that the Decepticons have taken over the entire Earth. Bum bum bum! Yes, the whole Earth! They team up with a human resistance against the Decepticons, and end the ongoing conflict once and for all. Gee, thanks for the spoilers. The series takes...
He's joking.
Yes,
he has seen every Transformer thing ever.
Yes, I am joking. The series takes elements from the cartoons and live-action films. Sorry, Bob. Yes, apologize more. It has the mature tone of animated, Beast Wars, and Prime. Mature tone of animated. I'm not quite sure what that means. I couldn't quite get past the first episode. Has the comedy of Beast Wars and animated, the heart of Bumblebee 2018, and the action and charm of G1. Nice. By judging the picture, yes, the Fallen, or Megatronus by his true name, is the leader of the Decepticons, while Megatron is his student. One thing I liked about the second film was the Fallen himself. Tony Todd gave a really scary performance for the guy, and I love his design. I also liked the idea of someone else leading the cons and not Megatron. I'm sorry, please don't get upset. Hey, each to his own. If you like that idea, fine, great. But I still gotta point out this bullcrap right here. Even in death, there's no command but mine. My master, I have failed you. No!
Back to the fan mail.
Back to the fan mail. Don't get me started on Bayformers. I'll stay here for weeks. I also rewrote Hot Rod as being one of the original 13 Primes. Interesting. That came before Optimus. And he acts like the spirit guide for the Autobots. Insert Jedi joke here. I really liked the name Rodimus Prime, because it sounds so mysterious and ancient. That's how cool it sounds. Also, what did you think of the Bumblebee movie? Is it really good? I hope it lived up to your expectations. Brains and Wheelie are here, and I made them not ugly. Ah, nice. And I think I have spotted them. I think they are these little guys right here. But, yes, what did I think of Bumblebee? Well, we're experiencing technical difficulty. Stand by. Nope. Can't tell you what I think about it until I review it for my 350th review, so.
Oh my god.
I've been doing this a long time. Yes, we have a few more drawings of the various characters here, including Optimus Prime / Orion Pax, who is a Western Star 5700. We have Bumblebee, who is a Hudson Hornet. Nice. Ironhide, GMC Top Kick. RC is a Kawasaki Ninja 250R. Nice. Ratchet, a Hummer H2 ambulance. Which I'm not going to have a problem with. That's what he was in the movies. But green? Really, Bay? Make him white with red trim. That's an ambulance. And Wheelie, toy monster truck. The other Autobots are Elita 1, Ultra Magnus, Brains, Wheeljack, Knockout, rewritten to be an Autobot, Chromia, Jazz. Aw, Jazz! He's dead. Oh well, I'm saying nothing more about him. Cliffjumper, the Dinobots, and many others. You've really put your work, or a lot of hard work into this one, didn't you? And included with the Decepticons, we have Megatronus Prime, the Fallen, Megatron, Cybertronian Jet. Oh, I forgot to mention that the Prime is a Cybertronian Bomber. Nice. Ignore this. I will go ahead and ignore the little scratched out bit there per the instructions. This design here is a Cybertronian form, and it's before he gets on Earth mode. That's why he looks different here. It involves him being frozen. Was he frozen today?
No.
Starscream is a classic F-16 fighting Falcon. Arachnid is an extraterrestrial spider. Soundwave, a General Atomics MQ-9 Reaper. And Steeljaw is an off-road vehicle. Ah, Steeljaw. I was going to say, what's this weird-looking wolf-like thing? But then I'm remembering, oh, wait, yeah, there was this wolf-like Decepticon at some point, wasn't there?
These are cute. Is it wrong to call the Transformers, drawings of Transformers cute?
Not if the drawings are cute. Call them what they are.
Okay.
And inspired by the other fan comics that we've seen on these mail videos before, we have Alpha and Omega 9 visiting Skull Island. Welcome to Skull Island, kids, says presumably Humphrey to his horrible little demon children.
His evil spawn?
Yes. Your dad and I want you to stay out of trouble. Kate, just don't. You know they're not gonna. Why bother saying anything? It's pointless. You know
they don't listen to you.
But we are wolves. The wild is where we are from. The wild is where we roam, says a particularly dead-eyed Claudette here. Okay, kids, bye! This place is like Uncle Tony's fur toupee. What?
Your screensaver just cut out.
Yes, it did, didn't it? I'll go ahead and play that again. Thank you.
One moment. Technical difficulties.
Ah! As future leader of the pack, we shall run into the valley. Yeah! And of course I had to say it with that voice because look at him! Look at Stinky! He's got like one eye on side of his head.
Well, yeah.
I'm the future leader of the pack. Look, it's a big ape fighting the T-Rex. You don't know what apes or T-Rexes are. But yeah, because it's on Skull Island, suddenly we have King Kong fighting a T-Rex.
Of course we do.
Hurrah! Hey, down here. Yeah, that's great. Call the attention of the giant gorilla who just beat a T-Rex. You pups are idiots! We are accepting of all critters. I'm Runt and that's Stinky. Name's Claudette. Our mom and dad always tell us to mix it up with other critters. I'm sorry. I don't want this thing telling me that it wants to be my friend. Yeah, I'm just gonna go get the flamethrower.
You've seen the fan fiction.
Yes, I have. What a nice situation this is already. He's coming to say hi to us. As Kong is raising his fist and coming towards them, and then splat!
Perfect ending.
Yes, with a mighty roar, he just brings down his giant fist. We wanted the wild, and that tops it. This is why we get into... Here are the flattened pups sitting in his crater of a handprint, quipping away because they survived somehow. But then, no. Just stomp. Kong just steps on him to kill him.
Why won't you die?
I know! I am so empathizing with Kong right now. Let's hope our new babies will be better than them, says Kate. Let's hope so, dear. This time we will really be better parents than ever. The end. Let's visit Garth and Lily when we get back. They are so cute as a couple. And they're riding away on a boat while a bunch of other animals are picking apart their pups.
Ew.
Oh, and of course, they had to have a little disclaimer saying Alpha and Omega is owned by Lionsgate, Crest Animation, and Splash Entertainment. King Kong owned by RKO Pictures. It's okay. I'm pretty sure those people aren't going to come after this comic.
That was cute.
Oh, God, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Emily. As we were discussing earlier, I gotta put this up on my wall of fan art behind me someday. That was too much of a hoot. Thank you, Emily. Anyone wants to send me packages, fan mail, comics of the Alpha and Omega pups being brutalized, you know, whatever, standard stuff, go ahead and ship it to the P.O. Box in the corner, and we will see you guys later.
Bye!